Hello everybody, it's me BooFlame, and today I'm bringing you a tier list for Trials of King Hercules the Easy Mode. Basically, this is going to go over what gods are viable when you have no items, what kind of team comps you want to be running, why they're good, why they're bad, why you see them a lot, why you don't, and it's going to be starting off, I'll say, when you have no items to when you kind of get some more items and it becomes more viable, in that regard, and just progressing all the way from the first Cyclops attack to the boar to the spiders to the lion, and then there'll be another video for hard mode for when you have all of your epic gear and you're running the best team, trying to be the fastest time. And let's just get right into it. With in the top right, if you look, Al Kwang all the way to Thor those are the banned ones. Those are guys you can't play either because you can fly the map, they're too strong, the stealth mechanic is my guess why Izanami and Al Kwang are banned. And Morrigan and Hercules, of course, because it's this game mode. So those you can't play. Some of them would make it a lot easier, like Izanami would. Jingwei would be fine. I don't know why she's banned, but regardless, you can't play them. To start off, we're gonna pick Agni as an A tier, and A is gonna be the baseline, just what's good by default. You pick it, you're going to have a good run. SS is if you pick this character and both your teammates die and you have little to no items, you can carry. There is no SS. And D is trash, very bad, don't pick this character, you're weighing everybody down. Unless you're in hard mode, then there aren't any D characters because they're all great. So Agni. Agni's good. What you want to look for in a character is their kit, as well as their 4 abilities and their passive, and what their role is. So Agni, he's just like in Conquest. He's got high mobility, high damage. He's got a good passive that he can always utilize. He's very strong. If you take it slow and you don't have that many items, you have a free ult, so you can get off 3 ults, burst some small minions down. You can do a lot with him. You can even stun the minions. He works very well. The only downside is when you're in this easy mode and you don't have any items, mana is a big issue. So that's where his ult comes in. So he's pretty good. Moving on to AMC, he's probably A plus tier. He's a little better than Agni because he has his hive. He's got a little bit more ability. He has just as much. Now, what am I talking about? He's not A plus. He does well. His ult's good for certain circumstances. You don't get it back, although you can use it on minions. If you couldn't, he'd be a lot lower. Alpwash, he's probably a B plus tier. He's got good burst damage. He's got good utility. His ult works. His pass works. The only problem with him is if you don't have a lot of items, you're using up that mana a lot, even if you're collecting them. And if you're collecting them, you're usually putting yourself in danger. So you want to have the tank guy go a little bit first, but he's not terrible. Amat, A plus. Her passive, giving 10% extra damage on AoE targets if she hits 3 times, is great. The damage mitigation on her 2 is great. Her dash gets her back in the fight for the boar. And her ult is good for clearing spiders when you get to the spider cave. She's really good. He's still A plus. He's probably more along the A line, but we're gonna put him in A plus because he's got that pen with his passive. His ult's really good. He has the slow with his sand pillar. His jump is a great knockup. He's very viable for easy mode and hard mode, even when you're just getting started. Anubis, A plus. He's gonna appear. He's got passive lifesteal, which is great. You get 1 lifesteal on him. I had Book of the Dead, and I run that guy every single time after that. He's extremely tanky. Your backliners can do damage while you're just in the front soaking up damage. His ult's high damage burst. Mages are your key people when it comes to easy mode because you don't have like high crits, which you're looking for in hard mode, but with the mages, the big damage sources is what you want. Aphrodite, S tier. If with an Aphrodite you have sustain heal, your tank can actually tank stuff. You share mana, which is a big thing. So if you get, even if you don't have a good MP5 aim, you're sharing that mana, giving mana to them, knocking people back, healing, having that ult for safety. It helps with every boss fight, especially the end one. Arachne, probably looking at A plus. She's got the good sustain. The minions can be helpful, even though they die quite quickly. Her ult's viable. It's good to get out, pull a bunch of mobs, run away, anything like that. Good sustain. Sustain gods will be up in the higher. There'll be a lot of Bs, a lot of Cs and Ds, but Ares is garbage. He is D tier. His passive can't really be used. 20 extra magical power for aura items if he doesn't get any aura items. His shackles, yes, they buff that, but he still only got one shot. Searing flesh is okay, but still low damage. Ultra defense is good. However, the CC immunity is not needed because there's only knockups and slows, and the ult is useless. Artemis is B+. She's got a good steroid for crit, which does help. However, her trap is useless, and Tusky, even though he does attack, he does hardly any damage. Athena is better than Ares, but still garbage. The taunt is useless. The dash and her damage, the cone on the ground, I don't remember what that's called, but that's good. The ult is circumstantial. You can get that damage reduction on a target. Still not good. Wheelix C. She has to be in the front. She has to use a lot of mana. Suku's not helpful at all. It's just pretty much a waste of mana. And the ult is good for some bosses, but not when you don't have a lot of damage online. Bacchus, C tier, better than Ares. Everything in his kit can be used. He does go through a lot of mana, but his ult and combo stun with the jump and the belch are pretty good. Bacchus, we're gonna go with B. He could be B+. However, whenever you come to, especially the last boss in easy mode, you can't utilize your passive. So if you don't have any attack speed already, you're not critting, but you're attacking very slowly. And even though you have that 70 true damage because you're rank 20, you just don't get a lot of it. The pen is good with his jump. The heat minion is good throughout the run. He could be B+, but because he's just not the greatest for boss fights once you get to the line. Bastet, we're gonna go with let's go with C. She's underwhelming. She's got a good kit. If you get a good item like a bluestone maybe early, or you get, even though that's an epic gear, which is weird, that I don't know why they did that. She's not the greatest. Her cats do very little jumping in and out. You're just wasting mana. Bellona, S class. She is great. Her bludgeon is perfect. Anything with a cleave is going to do really well in the early, because you want to hit multiple targets. You see that in hard mode. Cleave is good. The scourge is good. The one is short range dash. That's probably what it's used for. The damage, not so much. The ultimate is 100% perfect. Getting past those two Cyclops with Mystical Mail, you pop the ult, you pop the 2, you get protections, get damage increase. Very, very strong. Kraken, we're going to go to C. He's more like D. He uses too much mana. His stun isn't helpful. He has to be in the damage, in the fight with the tremors. His ult zoning doesn't really work. It's not applicable for boss fights. It's not useful in mob fights. Kamazat, go to B. Much like Bakasura, he doesn't utilize his passive, which does hurt him. He can't get that extra lifesteal. If he had access to the extra lifesteal from marking a jungle buff, he would do pretty well. He'd probably be an A tier character just because of his high sustain with his jump. Krynos, he's B+. He's not the greatest in easy mode just because his damage isn't up there. If you get him more items, he can be A+, but when no items, he's a B. His ult does absolutely nothing. So I made the mistake of calling people out, saying why aren't you ulting every 10 seconds, because that's a 2-second just free, but it doesn't work. It's a waste of mana. It's 140. Don't use it. Chalk, S+. Well, Chalk's probably S+. He is better than Bellona because he has protections in his 2. He has a self-heal. He's got high damage, and he's got an ult that knocks up and is AoE. He is phenomenal. He doesn't worry about mana because of his passive. He's a great character. You're going to see a lot of Chalk if you're running with normal people. Chang'e, she is probably an A character. She uses a lot of mana. However, the heal and the ult, don't be surprised by that. The stun is good. The ult, the low cooldowns are good. The damage immunity is good with the two. She's a solid character. Chiron. Chiron's an A. He provides a good amount of things. He can stop himself from dying, so you can get off your ult, even though you will die, even if you still kill a minion or something, because you have to kill a god. However, he does provide passive healing to his team, so if you're taking things really slow, he's a good character. And then with the extra bonus power on his 3, when you get some more items and just a little bit more and you're at the lion, or you can chunk the walls down, the pillars, and get to the line. He's a good character. Cupid's an A+. He is super strong. The reason being is his ult's AoE, it's a stun. It's a mez. Is it a mez or a stun? I don't remember. Either way, it's a 1 second stun or mez. And it does high damage, good for the first surprise with the 2 Cyclopses. He's got pumping out heals, AoE damage. He's got the flutter, so you can move faster, run away. He's a good character. Erlang, S. Reason being, he's got extra power in his 1. He's got a root, which is highly undervalued, but super appreciated in the Spider Cave. He has a knock-up, he's got attack speed steroid, and he's got a heal that he can chuck out. The only problem with him not being better than like a Nike or a Bologna is because Chalk, Bologna, and Nike, they have instant ults, which, I mean, Chalk's not really, but it still goes off right away. You get the reward right away, but with Erlang, you have to wait that delay. Fafnir is C. Can't stun anybody. You can disarm things, and your ult is pretty useful if you're trying to do AoE. Guardians overall are very, very bad. You shouldn't pretty much run any Guardian unless you're in hard mode, then run whatever you want. Fenrir is probably a B tier. He does have the good sustain, however, he has to be more in the front, and his ult does lose him whenever... Actually, no, he's B+. What am I saying? He has AoE clear, he's got lifesteal in his kit. The ult's the only thing. That's good for running away. He's B2 because... Freya, once you get some items online, she becomes near the top, but for everything right now, it just takes too much mana, even though she's got that 15% lifesteal in her kit. A lot of people I see whooping every target out of the big damage from either other mages or the hunter or the warrior. You have to be careful when you're playing Freya, not to mess up everybody. And also on that note, if you're playing Aphrodite, actually I'll get in that hard mode, but you got to be careful with Aphro 2 with the knockback, because it can interrupt a lot of damage or possibly kill your teammate. Ganesh is a C. If you take things pretty slowly, you do get benefits from the... He's D class. What am I saying? Reason being is the only thing that's good about him is his 1, which gives extra power to the more minions he hit, up to 10, I think. 10 or 6. 6 or 5. Other than that, they did nerf his ult, so it doesn't hurt minions anymore. So you can't use that to burn down objectives like the bosses. Geb's D. His ult's useless. Can't ult minions. Can't hurt minions. Cleanse is good. The knockback is good. The rollout is... I mean, it's a slow, but you can't bunt minions. Or can you? No, you can't. Can you? I'm not sure. Guan Yu, I'm going to go with B+. Talos Assault's very good. The heal's very good. The Cavalry Charge is pretty good. You do need a healer if you're running Guan, though, just because he's in the fight too long to get his damage off, and it really hurts him. Hebo is B. Reason being, he's got good uses of his kit. He's what you want in a mage. However, he just goes through his mana too quickly. If he didn't, he would definitely be more the B+, A category, but for now, he's down at the B's. Hell's A. Later on, she stays in the A+ range. She's got good AoE heals. Usually you're swapping off tanking if you're running it with friends, and the cleanse is really good for the spider cave. She's average, low damage though. It's good to kind of chip away HP from everybody, but she's not the heavy hitter that you kind of want. And the sustain thing, she's really good with her passive, giving protections and MP5, but she's average overall. Ho Yi, we're looking at B. His ult's very good. You can't utilize the Mark of the Crow. You can't knock anybody up because of the Mark of the Crow with the jump. The ricochets, you're not really getting triple bounces unless you just take the time to learn every triple bounce, and even then you have to pull every mob to them, and it's just not that effective. Hun Bats, B+. His ult's very good. It disperses enemies, does damage. His 2 is good AoE. His 3, even though it's just the monkey teleport, it still does for small targets, small groups, and the passive crit is pretty helpful in just casual runs. Isis is a character that a lot of people don't use. If people used her to her full potential, she would be A+, S tier, but right now she's just A because she's got protection debuff, protection gain, movement speed, stun, and then a protection ult that heals and does massive damage. If people played her more traditional to more MMOs, you would see her picked up a lot. Unfortunately, she's just not like that. If you do have more items than your teammates, she's definitely best to go. And then in hard mode, she kind of falls off because people are just running Hunter and crit, and you don't really need the mage 1000 when you can just crit for 1000. Kali's a C class. She can't get an 80% heal off. She can only get the 10% heal from her ult. The base pen in her passive is lost because there's no gods to hit. She can heal off of mobs with her nimble strike, which is pretty good. However, she's not what you want to carry. She's good for the lion at the very end, but other than that, she's not that useful. She's more like a B, but she's more of a B. Yeah, she could be B+ if her passive or her ult was a little different. Kepri's surprising. He's more of a B character. He's probably only the one. If you take the game very slowly, utilizing his passive, the regen or the shield health, he could do very well with the protections and debuff from his 2 to the root to the resurrection. The only thing that is faulty about him is his dash, his abduct. It doesn't grab anything, it just does damage, but he's pretty viable. Kukulkan, Alquang, whatever you call him, he's B character. He's got high damage. He's more of an A. That's a big jump, but the reason being, he's B+. No, I'll meet in the middle. He's B+ because I was really going to say he was A because he has all the things you want in a mage. The only problem is the sustain thing. His abilities cost a lot of mana, and that's what stops him from being A. You can't use twisters and his ult and his 1 all the time, and his 2, mind you. You're in the back. You kind of have to pick and choose what you're doing. You're good for the first maybe quarter, and then after that you're useless. You're just a noodle. Kuba is D. His ult is useless. His root's good. His mez is okay, but you don't, unless you mez like a quarter of the mobs and then you attack the other 2 and then just strategize like that. He's just not good. His passive come back to life, I guess, but then you're still useless. So Kuzenbo, he's D. The only thing redeeming about him is if you use Spike Shout, you can get 2 Kappas out at one time. But even then, he's not good. Loki, unlike in other game modes, he is at the bottom of the list. His decoy doesn't do enough. His ult is useless, and his stealth and just the single target nature of him doesn't help when you're fighting multiple monsters and you have to pump out too much mana. Medusa's A class. She has a great ult to stun surprise minions for spiders and the 2 starting Cyclops. She's great. She's got attack speed steroid and extra damage on her 1. Her 2 is good for most minions. She's overall a great character. You don't see her a lot, but she's good. Mercury. Mercury's A. Without too many items, he's not that great. He's more like a B. But if you get him with some, and you're utilizing the walking passive and everything like that, he does pretty well. And then in hard mode, he shoots up to the top pretty well. Neith is a C. You can't use your ult. You can only get 1 weave on the ground unless your teammate dies. But even then, the heal, it's all right. However, you're just not pumping out numbers. It just comes down to that. And I was once in a match where Neith kept trying to ult and realized that she couldn't, and it ended up wiping myself, my teammate, and him. Nemesis is a C. You can't use her ult. You can use her passive protection shred. One problem being with her also is the retribution shield. You don't actually heal off that. It's just the shield, and then once it's gone, it's gone. You can't heal off abilities. Nike's A+. She's not S because without a bunch of items, you're kind of taking things pretty slow, and Ren doesn't debuff the minions at all. So what you're basically there for is a sponge of damage, and that's not really that helpful. In hard mode, though, she becomes top of the list, just because of her cleave abilities. But she's A at the moment. Nox is D. The ult does damage, although it doesn't do the explosion damage unless you hit it up against a wall. But even then, you're not that for regular minions. For bosses, it hits them. The silence is useless. The tether is useless. The dashes, you can get the double dash damage off, but you're just at that point using too much mana. Odin's a B. He's got shields. If you utilize him for just tanking with shields, he can do pretty well. And his ult does have its uses, however, not the greatest. Osiris is a D. You can't utilize his mitigation. His ult isn't really needed. It's just for pretty much extra damage, and the single target slowing him isn't there. Poseidon, we're looking at B+. He has high damage, high mobility. The only problem is he does go through a lot of mana. If you take it slow though, and you're just using the 2 or the 3, you'll do pretty well with him. Ra is S-class. Reason being, Ra plus Chalk becomes unkillable. With Chalk's 2 and Ra's 3, your healing and your protection in there is quite a combo. Ra Chalk is something you'll see a lot. Raiden. He's a C-class. He could be higher if people utilize his ult a little bit more, but as it is now, just the damage and mana. Again, mana's a big thing. Once you play enough, you realize, hey man, I don't have any mana. I can't just dump every ability on one character, one small pack of mobs. You got to start doing different strategies. But Robin could be A, but he's B+. Reason being is he has everything good you want in a kit. Just he doesn't have enough of it. Where you can't tank yourself. The good start for him is to run over to the 2 training dummies, punch those, use abilities, whatever, until you get your full passive, your shield, and then leave. He's great. I wish if you had more items with him, so much to Isis, he would be fantastic because he's got high damage on his 1, a slow, damage immunity, he's got a heal, he's got damage mitigation on his ult. He could be really strong. The only reason is you just need more items because it's a little slower for him to get it off. Scylla's a B+. Yeah, is she B+? She's more of an A. Scylla's an A because she's got high damage. You can't reset the ult as you can in Conquest or any other game mode. You start at level 20, so you get an extra 80 power. which is fantastic. So she's one of the few characters in hard mode that you can get over, 1,000 kind of naturally, power wise. The damage reduction on her 2 is good if you just set that out and then you and your mage partner just dump damage. She's definitely pretty good for that. Starket, single target, C, more like D. Simply being, you can't. What I would like to see is someone pull the entire room, alt 1 minion, and have it spread to everything. That would be really cool to see. However, it's probably not going to happen. And I did have a theory where you could take the alt with you for the entire run, but that won't work, sadly. Just choose single target. Excuse me. For any value to come out of it. Scotty, you see a good bit of Scotty. She's more of a B+ character. The dog coming out is pretty good. The alt resurrecting it or making it live a little bit longer, that's pretty good. The mobility in her kit, the slide is nice, but range characters will still hit you. Sobek sounds like he'd be like an A, right? Or a B+, but he's more of a B. He's got everything to make him. He's got a lot of. He has mana regen. He's got a heal. He's got a passive for defense. He really shines when he has more items. That bumps him up to more of a B+. But whenever you're rocking purely nothing, he's just not doing enough damage to warrant the use of him. I guess he's a guardian other than Kepri that are up there. Soul's fantastic. She's an A. She's not quite an A+. But she's an A+. Yeah, she's an A+. The reason being is she now has that heal tied along with her 3, so she can get that off more and just keep her passive and keep her topped off health wise. So she's fantastic at the end boss, hitting the pillars and then going from there. And the movement speed to kind of get her kite around things is great. The immunity, so it automatically targets someone, a different ally, is good. She's up there. Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong is probably an A character. He's much like Agni, where he can do a lot, but he can knock things up. He can stun single target. He's got the extra damage on his cudgel. He has a self heal. You just don't see him a lot. That's pretty much his biggest thing. Susano's B. You're not really utilizing, you're not like Hydra procking everything, even though what you can do is you can buy Hydras and Polynomicon and then just do double damage, which is pretty cool if you're rocking that combo. Because fun fact, you can stack all the magical damage and then proc a Polynomical hit and it can hit for over 600 because you still have that magical power. You're just not utilizing anything but Poly. Sylvanas is a D. His ult doesn't do anything. His 2 only heals. He's got really long cooldowns. He can't grab anything. His mana regen tree can be useful, but it isn't. Terra's up there as a B. Her ult's useful. Her stun is pretty useful. The walls. The heal on the ground it's okay, it's applicable, but if you get like a Rod of Asclepius on her or even anybody, you should pretty much always rock Rod of Asclepius. Definitely coordinate with your team when you're gonna alt just try and get your cooldowns off as low as possible. Thoth is an A. He's got a high damaging ult. He's got good range. He can stay back. The only problem with him is he just goes through a lot of mana, like most things. And his stun, it does go through minions, which is nice. You just don't see him a lot, much like other characters. Tyr has passive defenses. He's got a good movement, AoE ult. He's got a heal. His carry doesn't really do much to minions unless you're trying to move into a specific spot. You don't see him a lot just because Chalk's better than Tyr. So he's more of a B+. Ullr rivals Kernanos pretty much, but you don't see him a lot. If you get some items on him, he's very good. He's definitely an A character. With his boast or his axe stance, you got the 15% extra lifesteal, which people always go to criminals, but Uller has it too. The only thing is, he becomes melee, which does hurt him, but actually, now I'm thinking, I wonder if Stone Cutting Sword can proc on his melee attacks. If so, then he's probably, in hard mode, he's probably pretty good. Vamana, the big baby, he's B2. He's got a lot of stuff like Wukong. He's very similar to Wukong, just he's more A. Yeah. Reason being is, if you get any tank items, any physical defense items, and you put them on Uller or on Vamana, he's gonna do extremely well because he's gonna have more power, and he's gonna be tanky. The only thing is, you do need him with a healer because he can't pop his ult every single time, and he's got good AoE. Vulcan's an A character. He's got a great ult, a lot of damage. That's what you're looking for. He's got a turret to help kind of chunk things. You don't see him a lot. I'm not sure why you think people would play him more, but they don't. Shablanca, he's a D character. His mana issues are insane. You can't utilize him well. His passive is non-existent. The ult doesn't work unless you want to hit things from really far away. In that case, I don't know why you would need to. Especially because most things are damage immune from a certain range. Xingqian. Xingqian's a C class. You utilize his passive, the HP 5, which is nice. However, you still need a healer, and your protections when you're using your your small leap are useful. The alt's good for a little bit of damage. He's just low damage, not too much bringing to the table. Ymir is a D class. His alt's good. If you're running easy mode with a lot of items and your alt's hitting for over 1,000, he can be useful. He can freeze stuff. He can slow stuff. His wall can kill your teammates, especially in the cave. But he's just not useful enough. Zeus is a C character. Even though he is a AoE character with his ult and his shield, his bounce can't clear relatively large groups. If you take it slow, obviously you take it fast and you pop the shield on the ground, then you hit that, and then it applies a charge to everybody. Then you can do it, but it's just too long it takes to kind of get your damage off. So that's why he's pretty low. Zhang Kui, he's a B character. He's better than Zeus because he has a heal. His ult is useless, but he does get the protections from it, and he can stun enemies. He's good overall, but that's all of them, and that's the tier list. It does get a lot easier when you get more items, but you're gonna see a lot of Chalk, a lot of Cupid, a lot of Ra, a lot of Afro, a lot of Bologna, probably a little bit of Soul, just when you're getting started into it. The RPG is extremely fun, and I advise all of you to take your time, go play it while it's still here.